Thank you very much.
You're fine, you don't have to move it.
It's funny to hear Bradley Manning accused at worst of exposing war crimes. I would say at best. But
Exactly.
exposed a lot. How many people here are going to be tomorrow with us at the White House? Okay, I won't ask how many or not. I won't ask you to embarrass yourselves. How about on Sunday? Can you make it down to Quantico? Okay,
Yeah.
one thing you can do is to, if you're on Facebook, which is, well, I must say, proven its potential in Egypt, now in Tunisia, in a way that I wouldn't have expected. I just got on it myself. I don't even know how to operate it. But get on Facebook or get on Twitter and tell your friends to get at they can get all the details on how to come, where to go, at stopthesewars.org. So send it to all your lists and tell everybody to get there if possible. I'm going to get on the phone with my son and have him tweet for me. He's ordered me not to do it myself. He said, "You fuck it up, Dad." I've got to go through him when it comes to Twitter. So get that out. I was asked this morning, you know, on Democracy Now, actually what I thought about the President's press conference comments on this subject just before he fired P.J. Crowley for telling the truth on this. Well, even on Democracy Now, I can't really express those words under the FCC rules as to what I think about that. What is clear is that it's been clear for several years now, that we have a president who is a former community organizer. And he's former in the way that I'm a former Cold Warrior. It's a long way behind him.
That's the truth.
And what is not so clear at the beginning, but what is shocking now is that he's a former constitutional scholar or teacher of these things. We thought we might get somewhere after the constitutional coup that we really experienced under Bush and Cheney and Addington and the others, and John Yoo of Bolt Hall, UC Berkeley, YOO, who wrote the torture memos, and all the memos saying that the president has the full powers of a monarch, only in wartime, in a war that would stand for the rest of our lives and our children's lives, an emergency period, essentially emergency powers, to put no restraint on him whatever. The assurance that we got that there would be no torture is about as good as the assurance that he would close Guantanamo, as we've seen. And by the way, I think he's still people are still believing the assurance that he gave that he's going to get out of Afghanistan and out of Iraq. I don't think that's any more likely than that he's getting out of Guantanamo, as a matter of fact. It's going to take an awful lot of pressure. Now whoever revealed this stuff to WikiLeaks, and he has not acknowledged that. It's up to his lawyer is making it up to the Defense Department, the Justice Department, to prove it, to prove the facts beyond a reasonable doubt, and that's up to them. But he doesn't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt to me. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on those charges. And on those grounds, Bradley Manning is certainly a hero of mine, no question about it. According to the chat logs of Adrian Lamo, the guy who informed on it, chat logs that may or may not be admissible in court, as a matter of fact. But if I were to take them at face value, that's why he is a hero. I saw him say in that he saw horrible things that the public deserved to know, needed to know, and he said they shouldn't be in a safe somewhere, they should be out in the public. Those included, and he said for that, I'm willing to go to prison for life or even be executed. Now, I hadn't heard anybody say anything like that for 40 years. I had that feeling myself 40 years ago, so I felt a kinship with him, or immediately when I read that. It seemed to be appropriate. We're talking about shortening a war or averting a war, saving an untold number of lives, and for that, it seemed absolutely natural to be willing to sacrifice your own freedom, or even your life. I must say that when I saw the execution, at first I thought, that's a little extreme for him to be thinking about. They're not really going to charge him with treason, a capital offense. I got charged with life, 115-year possible sentence. I expected him to face those charges, as he is. But death, well, they managed to add a case now, a charge of aiding the enemy, so-called, which does expose him to the death penalty, even if they don't ask for it. The commanding authorities could go with that. So it wasn't too extreme for him. He was saying that he was ready to accept that, and as I say, I think that was appropriate. On the other hand, the President, in saying that he accepts the Defense Department's assurance that his treatment, which does amount to torture, isolation of some 9 months, is appropriate and meets basic standards, is a despicable statement. His firing Crowley, as opposed to firing the spokesperson for the Defense Department, Jeff Morrell, who's been lying for months now about those conditions, speaks very ill for the President's memory of what he used to teach in constitutional law. But as I started to say a moment ago, we thought we'd get a benefit of somebody who took the Constitution seriously, and we have to remember John Uwaiyo, who wrote those memos, is also a teacher of constitutional law. That gives us no assurance whatever. It seems that they've always said in this town, where you stand depends on where you sit. And the guy who sits in the Oval Office clearly comes to think that he's sitting on a throne, very clearly, and that's what we have right now, a man who believes that we elected a monarch. It's up to us really to tell him in the way that the people of Egypt and Tunisia were telling their dictators that we were acting so long. The need for a change in priorities in this country and for a change toward the rule of law against what amounts to dictatorial violations of the Bill of Rights is as great here as it is in Egypt or Tunisia or any of the dictatorships that we have been supporting so long in the Middle East. It's not that we have yet a police state in that sense, but under Bush and under Obama continuing, we have the infrastructure of a police state that could be turned on from 1 hour to the next, practically, in terms of detention. He's asserted the right of indefinite detention, and we could have, I think with one another 9/11 in this country, I've been expecting for a couple of years, that we would have the kinds of detention that we saw with the Japanese in the Second World War. We have a president who's willing to do that, I believe. Bradley Manning is one of 5 people in this administration who have been prosecuted, or who are being prosecuted, under this administration for disclosures, unauthorized disclosures of classified information. Prior to Obama, there were 3 such prosecutions in all of our history. Mine was the first. 2 other presidents each had 1 each. No president had more than 1. That was 3 before Obama. I repeat, 5 under Obama. So Obama, in other words, is trying to use the Espionage Act, under which I was the first to be prosecuted, as an official secrets act. If he gets one of those convictions, there's already been 1 guilty plea, Shammai Leibowitz, but Drake, Jeffrey Sterling, Bradley, and who others? There are a couple of others. Of course, they're going after Assange. Oh, yes, Stephen Kim is another one. If he gets that, and if that's upheld by the Supreme Court for the first time, the Supreme Court has never actually ruled on the constitutionality of the Espionage Act used against disclosures as an Espionage Act, which was experimented with in my case, but didn't go to the Supreme Court. If this Supreme Court says that that is constitutional, we'll have an official secrets act. Or, as in Britain, that criminalizes all disclosures of classified information. That means that any journalist who has a byline over a story that includes classified information, which is every few days in the New York Times, can be called into a grand jury, which has not happened yet, on this broad case. Judith Miller was a special case. Call him in and say, we're not after you, we're just after your sources. Who committed the crime? And that means that he'll either go to jail or give the name. It means classified leaks will be over, and we'll know even less than we do about the secrets and the lies that got us into Iraq and escalated in Afghanistan as they did in Vietnam. So it's essential that we have the strongest possible case that Bradley Manning be supported in what he did. He did the right thing if he did what he's accused of. We want more of it, not less. And the more support we show, the better the chance that the prosecution and the torture that he is undergoing right now will not deter others from following his example. So thanks for being here.